Alright guys, so today's video I want to talk about deer trails, and I think, you know, even over the mock scrapes, this is probably my favorite thing to do, and I think probably one of the best tactics you can do, at least in my opinion. With the deer I shot last year, I cut some trails last year and I noticed that he was specifically using those trails, and I couldn't think why, other than, you know, pat on the back, I did a good job. But until I started putting it together, I think he was 20 inches wide. He was a wide buck. He can't walk through this stuff. Right here he can, but walking through any of that, he can't walk through that. His rack's too wide. Any deer that's 16 inches wide or something like that, he's gonna have a terrible time walking through this. Sure, small stuff like that'll move as he hits it, but this bigger stuff, he's not gonna get through that, and he doesn't want to, and that's probably a lot of the reasons why they like to cruise the edge of thickets. So basically what we did, if you remember that buck that we had on camera last year, that 10 point, we cut a bunch of trails throughout here. Did a little bit of hinge cutting out there. I got my stand over here. Our cabin's right over there. You can see the field just a little bit. But I went through and I cut a bunch of trails in here because it's so thick. And I did that about, I think, 2.5 years ago. And sure enough, that buck started popping up in here and using them. So I think that had something to do with it. And that 8 point I shot last year with the bow, he walked right on a trail I cut. I cut that 2 years prior. I think that cutting trails for bucks especially, you got to put them in specific spots, edge of thickets, going to a food source, going to a bedding area. You can't just put it in a random spot. There's got to be a purpose to a mature buck. He's always got a purpose to everything he does. I even got a theory that I think that the reason why a buck scrapes a scrape, because they don't do it every time, they do it 50% of the time or so. I think it's because there's scent glands in that scrape from another buck, and he's trying to paw that scent out, and he's trying to put his scent back into it. So, you know, you gotta just kind of experiment a little bit. I've seen it the last couple of years. These bucks are using the trails I cut, so I definitely recommend it. You can see in here, this is nasty thick. There's no way a buck can get through here. There's a couple of rubs back behind you. There's no way a buck can get through here if he's got a rack 16 inches wide or 18, especially 18, 20 inches wide. This isn't bad, but he's not going to be able to get through this stuff. He might be able to weave here and there, but so anyways, we cut this trail out right here, and I'll have you follow me. Here's one. This is the purpose of it. You've got a trail going in here, and you're going to see a lot of that. There's a couple back there. They're going straight to this clover plot. That's about 40 yards that way. So you got this trail right here. This is a doe trail. And we haven't even walked 15 feet, and here's another doe trail right here. Kind of like the north side I was telling you guys about. If you watched all my videos, there's so many trails. There's 50 trails just coming from north to south, and there's 2 or 3 good trails running east and west on the edge. And I never put that together. Those are the bucks, and the does are coming into the food, and the bucks are cruising the trails. So I mean, you can see here they used to run it. Here's old rubs. There's a bunch we passed. But here's trail number 2 going into the plot. Again, bedding is over there. You can see how it opens up. They like to bed on that edge. Another trail right here. This is a little bit further, but not much. Another trail that cuts right through here. You can see it coming out this way better. So that's 3 trails in about 30 feet. And then this opens right up to our main one. And this is what I cut 3 years ago or something. So as you can see, what we just came out of, pan behind you a little bit, this is all wide open. So what these deer will do is they'll bed over here on the edges with the wind coming this way, especially the bucks. There's just rubs all over on the corner of the property over there. But they'll come out of this way, and then they'll either make the run that way, or the deer will come out of that pinch that we were at earlier, or that you'll see in the last video I just posted up with tree stands, and they'll come through here and then back down that way, cut across, or they'll come right here and cruise that way, just depending on the wind, whatever the wind's giving them. But again, I think there's a huge importance to cutting trails that is very overlooked. Again, I mean, pan over here, how would a buck with 18-inch spread get through that? I mean, he could get through some of it again if he bull rushed it, but he's gonna get caught up in there, and he's not gonna want to deal with that. It's not even about if he can, it's does he want to deal with that. And I know that they're all about survival and stuff, but they need stuff like this to get into that. And there's old rubs all over through there. But that's the end of that video. Just something to maybe try out. It might be a little too late to do it. You definitely want to cut them and give them a good year or summer or so to get used to them. Maybe try that out next year. Again, do it with, make sure it's got a purpose. It's on the edges, just inside the edges of thickets, and it's going to a destination. It has to be going to a destination. Bedding, food, scrape, water hole, whatever it might be. So keep that in mind. We'll see you next time. God bless.